Let us offer our consecration to the Lord. Lord, we offer up to you this day, and we ask that your name be glorified. We ask that we may know, love you, and serve you. We ask that we may honor you, and we ask that we may always recognize our call to speak on behalf of those around us who you call us to lead to salvation. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Well, we've been in different parts of the prophets. We've been in different parts of the Bible. And now we're going back to the second book of the Bible today. This is from the 32nd chapter of Exodus. This is one of the scenes, by the way, I talk about in my latest book, which, by the way, is my fourth. Thank you very much. So anyway, my latest book, if you really want a copy of it, you can find it through CatholicAudiomedia.com. And proceeds will be donated to the parish. Well, what we see here is this powerful passage. Understand the whole scenario. So Moses has led the Hebrews, remember I'm using the term Hebrews here, the Hebrews out of Egypt. And they have gone through this powerful experience where they've seen great miracles, where they've seen very powerful things. And what also is happening is they're leaving, even though these are the Hebrews, and they have been faithful to the Lord despite their suffering as slaves. They are now leaving Egypt and its full culture, which ultimately will be condemned as idolatry, and they're leaving all of that so that they may start as the new people who the Lord has called. Now, just as a sidelight, this is something Dennis Prager talks about in his Rational Bible series, Exodus, where he says that all the plagues that affect the Egyptians in trying to get the Hebrews to leave Egypt are all based on the different gods of the Egyptians rather. The Hebrews only have one God. So it's really fascinating where the Lord is making a very clear statement to the Egyptians that he is the true and powerful God. So they have now gone through the Red Sea. They have now journeyed away. They have seen the Egyptian army conquered. They have seen all the great things that the Lord has given to them. They've done all of this, and now they're at the bottom of Mount Sinai. And at the top of the mountain is Moses. Now, he is with the Lord. He is in this meeting with the Lord, and the Lord is writing for him the Ten Commandments. One of the most fascinating things someone brought out, and this I've ended up reading over and over again, and of course Dennis Prager in his Rational Bible series brings this out. Jesus never wrote anything down. He did, but we don't have anything of what he wrote down. It's in the Bible that he wrote in the sand, but we assume that he did write things. He could, a thank you note could have been something he wrote. He could have written, a shopping list of, what they might need. That's technically writing anything down, but we don't have any of his teachings directly written down. Remember, the Gospels are not eyewitness accounts. They are accounts after many years, and at the same time, the Gospels are the teachings of Jesus as written by the apostles and the apostles' communities. So, Jesus never wrote anything down. And in a sense, God never wrote anything down. God the Father never wrote anything down with one exception, the Ten Commandments. The only thing that are written in stone that the Lord gives to us are the Ten Commandments, which is why they are so important. And if we go to another level, they are written in stone. They are indestructible. Therefore, that is why they are so important. I guess I shouldn't say they're indestructible, because we know that Moses does break the tablets and you need a new set of tablets. We know all that, but you can get the general idea where I'm coming from. So here Moses is up on Mount Sinai, and at the bottom of the mountain are the Hebrews who have been led by God, and they're waiting patiently for Moses, but they become impatient. And there is great, as I understand it, there was always like great rumbling and clouds and everything else up on the mountain. So they may have seen, well, there's something going on there, but they obviously couldn't see Moses for 40 days. Well, 40 days is a long time, and eventually they come to say, Moses hasn't returned yet. Since Moses hasn't returned yet, he must no longer be living, and therefore we have to return to the ways of the Egyptians and form our own gods. So after everything the Lord has done, this is today's reading, they decide to create the golden calf. Now, you have to read the accounts carefully, because it's not as blatant as it appears. Not only do they return to worshiping the golden calf, but they return to some of the practices of the Egyptians. And always remember, whenever they go back to the practices of the pagan world, what do they go back to? Human sacrifice. And if you look very carefully, it's in there. I don't know if it's in there in this particular reading, but it's definitely in this focus. So that's what they're doing now. There it is. It says right there that they made themselves a molten calf, bowing to it and sacrificing to it. And that's what it says. This is Exodus 32 for those of you who are following along with your daily missal. So we see all this going on, and we're going to talk about what that means for us on the other side of the break. You're listening to St. Anthony Overnight from St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts, right here on WEZE 590 AM. Have you told anyone else about St. Anthony Overnight from St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts, here on WEZE in the early morning and through CatholicAudiomedia.com?
You realize we are a different Catholic program because we are not speaking just to Catholics.
We speak to ex-Catholics, atheists, evangelicals, and people from all different religious and non-religious backgrounds.
We do this from a Catholic perspective.
So you're not going to hear what you hear on other programs because we have a different mission serving Jesus Christ.
Tell your friends what we do here is different, and it is so that we all may experience Jesus, who sets us all free. And don't forget our own website, CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com. Check that out. Check out our Substack newsletter. Check out our podcast platforms. Check out our way you can feedback, obviously through the phone. So through the telephone, through what do you call it? Through our phone system. What do you call them things now? What are they called? So the phone. You can also send us an email and all kinds of things. If you'd like to donate to the show, we'd really appreciate it. By the way, I forgot to mention in the past couple days, please consider, if you want to donate to the Catholic Appeal and you don't have a parish through which you're donating, please consider doing it through us. You'll see on both a parish website and the CatholicAudiomedia.com website a way that you can donate to the Catholic Appeal. And it would mean a lot to us. It would show the Archdiocese that you enjoy this program. So in any case, we're talking about this powerful moment. Now, they have now turned back away from the Lord despite all the things that the Lord has done for them. It's not in this reading. It's actually elsewhere. But if you've seen the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston, then you can see this character called Dathan, who was played by Edward G. Robinson. That's the one who causes all the trouble and everything. Well, we see him actually in another part of the Bible, but that's who we see in Cecil B. DeMille's Ten Commandments, who causes all the trouble. But in any case, they start to worship these gods, and the Lord is saying, why, these are stiff-necked people. I need to get rid of them and start a whole new group. I need to just create a whole new people, and it's done. And that's where the Lord pleads to God. That's where Moses, pleads to the Lord and calls him not to do that. So this is a famous passage where Moses calls the Lord to change his mind. That's what people will tell you. But it also reflects what our job is. There are plenty of people walking around condemning people. Oh, those people are going to hell. Those people are going to hell. We gotta stand up and speak the truth because those people are going to hell if we don't. Well, okay, fine. You want to do that? That's fine. but we're also called to intercede for those people. We're called to intercede for others. That's one of our roles as church and as members of the church, to intercede for others. We do it during Good Friday, obviously, but we're also called to be people who intercede for even the sinner that everyone else has given up on a long time ago. We're never allowed to do that. So keep that in mind. And we can see that model in today's story of Moses saying to the Lord, no, do not destroy these people. Let me work with them. We also see it in Jesus in the gospel at another time where he talks a similar story. But no, do not, and plead for others. And so when everyone else gives up on someone, we're not called to give up on anybody. We're called to be people who pray over and over again so that someone is interceding, because the people who do not intercede have given up. We don't give up on anyone. So keep that in mind. Very powerful reading today from the book of Exodus. We'll be back tomorrow. In the meantime, have yourself a blessed day, and we'll see you here on WEZE tomorrow.
I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com. If you would like to support our program, please consider a donation to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. There are several ways to consider this. One is to purchase any of our merchandise, which you can find at the shopping tab at CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com. There are coffee mugs there. There's also my latest book, Encounter Christ in Your Humanity, all of which you can find at the shopping tab at CatholicAudiomedia.com. You can also donate to the show directly through either the Donate tab, also at CatholicAudiomedia.com, or by sending a donation to the U.S. Postal Service with your questions and comments at 43 Holton Street, Allston, Massachusetts, 02134. That's St. Anthony Parish, 43 Holton Street, Allston, Massachusetts, 02134. Finally, the best way you can support our parish is to attend Mass on Sundays at 10 o'clock and be a part of our parish. We thank you for any support you would like to give to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts, the sponsoring parish for this media outreach to Catholics and other Christians in the WROL, WEZE, and podcast listening audience. In Cristo vivimos.